Our movie opens up with a creepy cult holding a ritual in the woods. And Billy Zane is the leader, and he's trying to read this ancient text. And they also prepared a sacrificial lamb. And at the same time, a Vietnam vet called Bill is visiting his wife's grave. He puts fresh roses on her grave, but then he hears this weird sound, and he's like, "Who the hell is on my property?" with a southern accent. And then this guy, Bill Unger, goes to investigate the source of the noise, and then he sees Billy Zane having trouble reciting the unfathomable lines. And then Billy orders his fellow cult buddies to throw their captives into the blazing pit. The man falls down there, and after Billy chants some more, a hellish beast gets out. A very, very hellish beast. And then Billy explains to the beast that the gentlemen in yellow are his buddies, and that he needs to feed them to get stronger so that they can bring down humanity and feast upon the flesh of men. And then the beast goes into the woods, and Billy's like, "Okay, fine, that's it for me. I'm gonna disappear from this movie now." I don't know where he goes after this. Maybe he disappeared in the woods, but we never see him after this. The next day, we meet a local sheriff, Joe, and through his conversation with a local mechanic, Rick, we find out that he was transferred from New York, and he's still getting used to the very quiet and peaceful town, because New York is like a hellhole. Everybody's screaming. It's just a crazy place. And then we meet Sheriff Joe's deputies, Liz and Teddy. After talking to Joe for a bit and reporting that nothing is really up to the sheriff, Teddy goes out on patrol, but he first makes a quick stop to visit his crush, Dana. Their conversation soon switches to Joe, and Teddy tells Dana that he's a little bit weird, and she tells him that it's because he's from New York, and he's used to all the lights and the people screaming, and he's just used to that New York lifestyle. He's not innately odd or weird. And then Candyman walks in. His actual name is Harry, and then they also talk about Joe a little bit. And Candyman also tells them that it's because Joe just needs to adopt to the new town, and there's really nothing more to it. And at the police station, Unger arrives with his broomstick in his hand like it's nothing, and neither Joe nor Liz are concerned about that. And Unger tells them about last night and about the ritual that he witnessed. And Joe replies that someone was just probably messing around, and that pisses off Unger because he saw a beast, he saw a lot of weird shit. And after 5 minutes of meaningless dialogue, Joe promises that he will come back to investigate later. Joe then visits a local radio personality host, Georgia, and he asks her a little bit about the cult. Why did he go to Georgia? I have no idea. Maybe he thought that the cult had a radio station? I don't know. And as Joe was investigating, Teddy was finding out that the newspaper boy was probably dead because he discovered his bike and his Walkman next to a blood stain on the road. And then he sees two members of the cult, but they disappear instantly. And them just vanishing into thin air terrifies Teddy, and he just drives away. And then we cut to a scene where two teenagers are parked in the middle of nowhere, and they're making out in the car. Then they hear these weird sounds, and then the guy goes out to check what it is. And soon he returns screaming in agony before something pulls him away, and then the beast touches the windshield with his hands, and it's blood everywhere. Pretty cliche, but I just never get tired of seeing this. And then we see Unger, who was talking to his dead wife, and then he sees three guys from the cult. He starts taunting them, and one of them starts walking toward him, and then he steps on a mine and he meets his maker. And as Unger was laughing, the second cult member steps forward, and he also gets blown to smithereens, and then the third one gets caught in a bear trap. And then Unger does the most unpredictable thing, and he pulls out a grenade and yells, "Happy Hanukkah," and blows himself to bits. Why did he do that? He could still just shoot himself or just casually get away. But no, he had to use a grenade. And why not just use that chance to say, "Rest in pieces," or something more catchy? Jesus, but I guess when you gotta go, huh? Anyways, then we get to see the beast reach puberty, and it grows a nice pair of horns. Meanwhile, as Joe was chilling at a diner and gossiping with the owner, Liz shows up and informs Joe that someone called and complained about loud noises at Unger's property. So to check what's what, they both head over there. And Bob and Rick get a hard time finding a phone connection. They go to several places, even George's office, but every phone is dead. And Teddy shows up and tells them about his encounter with the cult and how he thinks the newspaper boy is dead. And as they're walking around looking for Unger, they just end up finding the beast instead. Or you could say that the beast just found Liz's head and killed her. And soon after night fell, the cult showed up in town ready to have a good time. And as Dana was taking out the trash, a group of cultists show up and they attack her. She tries to defend herself and yell for help, and then Teddy arrives and he empties his clip, shooting at them. And then another cultist showed up and attacks him, but Dana kills him with a shovel. And as more of them showed up, Harry got there and sacrificed himself, and Teddy and Dana made it out alive. And Rick also hears something outside, and when he goes out to check, it's apparently a bunch of cultist members. He shoots one, and there was another one with a knife. He tries to fight him with a crowbar, and he somehow survives and meets up with the others. And at the diner, Cindy was spectating everything, and she tells Mary that she saw some monster killing Rick. And then a cultist shows up, hopefully to grab some dinner, but no, he just acts as Mary. And then Cindy was next, but she manages to escape, thanks to Georgia, and she joins the others at the cafe. And then Teddy decides to go to the police station to try his luck and get some ammo and some guns, but he gets jumped by a bunch of cultists, and Joe shows up blasting everywhere, kills a bunch of them, and they manage to get a few weapons out of there. And Joe takes Unger's confiscated grenade launcher, and he really enjoys using it. And Joe tells Teddy to end it all. He tells Teddy to take out the rest of the cultists and that he will kill the monster. And at the cafe, Bob decides to take a peek through the door and he gets stabbed. And Teddy takes out as many cultists as possible, but he gets wounded, so he goes to the cafe for some refuge, and there he finds that Bob is dead. And Joe uses his new toy and almost kills all the cultists, and then he uses a chainsaw when he hears something coming from the trees. He still hasn't killed the monster at this point, and he starts looking for it. And he tries to draw the beast's attention by cutting down a few trees, and the beast does notice him. And after revealing itself fully, and very angry because Joe cut down the trees, it tries to come after Joe, and Joe gets a chance to blow it to smithereens. But he didn't really check if it was really dead. And you guys know the rule. Always check if the monster or deadly serial killer is actually dead. And this time, Joe doesn't check. I guess they were trying to leave some kind of space for the sequel. Anyways, that's how the show ends. I hope you guys liked the recap. Please like the video, subscribe to my channel. I will see you on the next one. Bye!